Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video.
iOS 14 is going to be a pretty big update when it rolls out to consumers later this year. And we actually did a few videos highlighting what you can expect to see in the update. And so if you want to see those videos, just go ahead and click the card in the upper right corner. But since iPadOS is built off of the foundation of iOS, these two operating systems are naturally going to share a lot of the same features. And so in this video, we're going to try to separate all of that and point out a lot of the features in iPadOS 14 that are iPad specific that you need to know. Now, as I just said, most of these features will be iPad specific, but some of them might cross over into iOS 14 or even macOS 11, but I still think they're worth mentioning. And so our first biggest feature is Scribble. Scribble lets users handwrite into any text field using their Apple Pencil, and this is system-wide. So I can go to Safari and write out macrumors.com, for example, and the Scribble feature will recognize my handwriting, convert it to text, and take me to that desired website. I could write out a calendar event in the Calendar app, things that I need to get done in reminders, etc. If I make a mistake, I can just simply scratch to delete, or if I want to select a word, you can do this by drawing a circle around it. This makes the Apple Pencil much more useful across the entire operating system rather than specifically inside of a drawing or notes application. Speaking of a notes application, Apple also beefed up its Notes app to include this Scribble functionality and other advanced handwriting features. So if I head into the Notes app and select the tool with the A on it, I can write out anything that I want, and then Scribble will take that handwriting and convert it to text on the fly. Keep in mind, this works really well if your handwriting isn't terrible like mine is, but I think it still does a pretty good job at converting my handwriting to text. Apple also added the ability to select handwritten text and move that text around or make changes to it on the fly. You can also draw perfect shapes by simply doing a pause at the end of your drawing. And they also added the ability to act on handwritten text that might include email addresses or phone numbers. Apple has added a new sidebar to apps like Notes, Files, Photo, Music, and more that offers a more fluid design for easier access and navigation within applications. Some apps in previous versions of iPadOS had tabs down at the bottom of a navigation bar, but in iPadOS 14, there's much more information available to you at a glance. Now, alongside those new app sidebars comes the new toolbars and pull-down menus that offer a more streamlined way of accessing specific tools within an application inside of a single button. Now, apps like Files now remove the need to swipe down to access the menu bar. Instead, it's just right there, persistent in the top corner. You can tell Apple's goal with iPadOS 14 and these new toolbars and menu bars is to take advantage of the extra screen real estate and make some of these sections of applications or these menus and tools much more easily accessible, and I really like that part of this update. Even though Apple is taking advantage of screen real estate, there are some services that absolutely do not need to take up a large portion of your screen. A more compact Siri, for starters, is a much needed update, and iPadOS 14 delivers just that. Siri is now designated to a small corner of the screen and shows information in more of a banner style, and it keeps everything down at the bottom of your iPad, as opposed to taking over your entire display. Unfortunately, while Siri is showing you information, you can't interact with the contents of your screen that's behind Siri. You just need to dismiss it in order to do that. But either way, it's a huge upgrade. Another similar compact style upgrade is the new incoming phone and FaceTime calls feature. Gone are the days of being interrupted while watching a movie or playing a game by a giant incoming call screen, but instead, iPad and iOS 14 now show an incoming call just from a banner notification. Now, this compact UI theme keeps going with Search. Search has now been updated to look and feel a lot like Spotlight Search on macOS. It takes up a lot less space, and there are more suggestions displayed, the ability to launch applications and websites, start in-app searches, etc. The best part is this Spotlight Search can be used inside of any application and is no longer strictly available when you're on your home screen. Safari received a lot of the same updates that we talked about in our macOS video, but it's still worth talking about here. Features like privacy tracking, which lets you know which websites have cross-site trackers running. To see this report, tap the icon in the left side of the navigation bar, the one that's two A's, and select Privacy Report. Speaking of that navigation bar, Safari's translation feature also made its way to iPadOS, where users can now tap the translate icon in the navigation bar whenever there is a page that needs to be translated into your language. And for those who open a lot of tabs in Safari, you now have these little favicons to help you distinguish which tab you might be looking for, which is a nice little touch. Speaking of a nice little touch, for those of you who don't have quick access to the emoji keyboard, say you're using a hardware keyboard that's not the Magic Keyboard because there's a dedicated key to access emojis, but you're using a third-party keyboard and there's no way to get to the emoji picker, quickly, you can just tap the keyboard icon in the bottom right corner of your screen and select this new emoji popover menu for easier access. Finally, for you Apple Music lovers out there who love singing along to your favorite songs, you can now see lyrics in a new full screen style by simply tapping the lyrics icon in the bottom right corner. And that's it. These are just some of the features that we think you should know in iPadOS 14 that's going to be coming out later this fall. And of course, I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your favorite features in iPadOS, or maybe one in iOS 14 that you're gonna love using on your iPad? Go ahead and let us know all down in the comments below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.